Hello friends, today we are going to take up figure of speech, a very interesting topic that I don't know why some of you find challenging. It is not challenging at all. Let us understand what figure of speech actually is. Figure of speech are just phrases or words that are used in poetry or prose to highlight the meaning, to add beauty to the poem, or to enhance the meaning of whatever has been said. The first poetic device that we often come across is alliteration. What is alliteration? It is repetition of words in poetry that have the same consonant sound in the beginning. Same consonant sounds. Remember the consonant sounds? K, B, D, P. These are the consonant sounds. Now look at the first example. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled papers. Peter Piper picked up a peck of pickled papers. Here, in this line, the beginning word is being repeated. Beginning sound actually is being repeated, and that is P. To feast his fill of the flesh of men. Here, feast, fill, flesh. First sound is being repeated. Gulped the blood and gobbled the flesh. Here, g sound is being repeated. Alliteration is often used in poetry for children as well. And you remember our tongue twisters? Bitter butter, bought some butter, but the butter was bitter, so bitter butter bought better butter. Here the b sound is being repeated. Well, tongue twisters may be fun, but alliteration in prose and poetry enhances its beauty undoubtedly. Then we come to the second poetic device, simile. When one subject of the poem is compared to another subject or object using the word as or like. Well, simply put it, when one thing, person, place or animal is compared to something else, it is called simile, and this comparison is made with the help of the words as or like. As sleek as a lizard. Here, this line has been taken from the poem Laburnum Top, where movement of the goldfinch bird that gets into the thickness of the leaves is compared to that of a lizard, telling us that when she entered the leaves, she was very, very alert and her moves were very delicate, just like those of a lizard. And it seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind. Here, you lived your life like a candle in the wind. Lifestyle of a particular person is being compared to that of a candle in the wind. It clearly highlights the struggle and the fighting spirit of the life. He sat as still as a mouse, in futile hope that whoever it was might go away after a single attempt. But no, the knocking was repeated. The worst thing of all would be to delay. His heart thumping like a drum, but his face from long habit was probably expressionless. Here he sat as still as a mouse, as quiet as a mouse. Well, we've all heard that. So, the sitting quietly of the mouse has been compared with the help of the word as. My heart was thumping like a drum. Beating of the heart has been compared to the beating of the drum. It obviously highlights the palpitations and the restlessness that is involved in this beating of the heart. Therefore, his heart was thumping like a drum. She is as beautiful as the rose. This is also a simile. Well, some very common similes we all are aware of. As beautiful as a peacock, as sly as a fox. These are called similes. Now, we come to metaphor. Metaphor is also a comparison. When one subject, one thing, one person is compared to the another, but here without the use of as or like. It is called a metaphor. This wall is a great stairway. Here, the wall has been compared to a stairway, but has directly been called a stairway. Instead of saying, this wall is like a stairway, the poet says, this wall is a great stairway, highlighting the quality of being able to climb up the wall just like the stairway. He was a lion in the fight. Again, instead of saying he fought like a lion, it is said he was a lion in the fight, telling that he was really, really brave, or he fought bravely. Her heart is gold. Here, comparison of the purity of the heart is being compared to the purity of gold. But instead of saying her heart is as pure as gold, it is said her heart is gold. So, comparison between purity of gold and the heart. Here, in the metaphor, the comparisons are direct because as or like is not being used, and moreover, they again force us to think. The third poetic device is personification, to personify. To personify what? To personify inanimate objects, non-living things, and to give them human attributes, human characteristics or traits is called personification. The wind whistled throughout the sky. Well, wind is definitely inanimate and it cannot whistle. But when the wind is described as having the quality to whistle like a human being, it obviously tells us about the easy and the happy way the wind blew, or how softly the wind blew. The moon was resting in the midnight sky. Instead of just saying that I could see the moon in the sky, when one says moon is resting in the sky like a human being rests, because moon cannot rest actually. It's inanimate, it's personification. The earth had swallowed all my hopes. Here again, earth has swallowed, eaten up. Well, earth can't eat up anything. It is inanimate. We are the ones who are actually eating up the earth by destroying its forests. But again, the poet says the earth had swallowed all its hopes, personifying the earth. Inanimate object, giving it human qualities. The last one for today is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a poetic device that includes strings of words that together produce an associated sound effect. To use words that are actually sounds, that mean only different sounds, and they create a special effect in poetry. Like, when I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. Here, napping, tapping, rapping are actually sound words which have been used together to create an effect. There was a rustling that seemed like a bustling of merry crowds justling at pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping, and little tongues chattering, and like fowls in the farmyard when barley is scattering. So here, rustling, bustling, justling, hustling, pattering, clattering, chattering, scattering are actually sound words, and they have been used together to create an effect. Like, pitter patter came the rain drops. Pitter patter came the rain. Here, pitter patter are words that are actually used for sounds. The falling of the rain, that is the sound. But when here used together, pitter patter came the raindrops, highlights the effect of poetry, telling us how rain fell slowly and softly, and then gained momentum. Pitter patter fell the raindrops. I hope the poetic devices were clear to you now. Thanks for watching.